Big thank you to this episode's sponsors, OpenPhone, the #1 business phone system that streamlines and scales your customer communications. Get 20% off of your first 6 months at openphone.com/earn. Shopify, the e-commerce platform that I trust for Glossy. Sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/happy. Constant Contact. Constant Contact's award-winning marketing platform is here to make marketing way easier and way more effective. Get a free 30-day trial when you go to constantcontact.com.
We live in a day and age now where you can basically decide how you want to age. And that is completely within the grasp of the majority of people. So if folks shift their mindset instead of sick care to healthcare, and instead they start looking at things differently, where they're like, hey, listen, my health is an investment, then that's where you can actually start to pre-program the life that you really want.
It's all the components that not only make people live to 100 or beyond, but also I believe it's the components that make you the most fulfilled in life. David, welcome to the podcast. We're so excited to have you on.
Thank you. Thank you. Honored to be here.
And so it means that you are being interviewed right now by myself on the Earn Your Happy podcast, but you're also getting my husband, Chris Harder. So we're so excited to both be interviewing you just about, I think, all of the questions that so many entrepreneurs have. And Chris and I feel so lucky because you're our doctor and we get to ask you all these questions and have you, pretty much on demand via text, which is so blessed and so lucky that we get to do this. But now we're going to be answering questions for everybody, for the whole community. And these are things that we've been curious about, that we feel like have helped us thrive, that we feel like we don't have fear around anymore. So I can't wait to dive into this conversation.
Yeah, it's been such a blessing, actually, having you be our concierge doctor. And if people don't know what a concierge doctor is, do you mind explaining that real quick?
No, not at all. And it's been a blessing to me. You guys are absolutely amazing people, and I've learned so much from you and just given so much to my life. So thank you both. Truly, I appreciate that.
We're on the better end of the stick. I mean, the way you've taken care of my health problems, second to none.
Thank you. And so a concierge physician, the whole idea behind it is for folks who don't want to wait, when they don't want to actually go and partake in the same mess that is the regular healthcare system. They want instead more of a approach that's focused on them and their family.
Yeah. So what happens, because it's like a front of the line pass for the best in medical care, right? What happens when someone hears that? They're like, wait, that's not fair. How do you answer that?
Well, the unfortunate truth is the way the healthcare system is set up is it's sick care. It's not healthcare. And we're really at this place right now where that's been exposed quite a bit, just with ever since the pandemic and folks are looking at healthcare really differently. And what's already beginning to happen is, people are beginning to see that if they, instead of just relying on their health insurance or, insurance from an employer or whatever it is, if they actually go and invest in their health and they invest in themselves, then that really pays dividends in the end.
Yeah, that makes sense. So let's talk about the state of health when it comes to entrepreneurs, because that's really what these two shows are focused on, right? Everyone chasing their dreams and they're big dreamers, they're hard charging. Would you say the state of the average entrepreneur's health is better today because of technology and advancements and how quickly information travels? Or is it worse because everybody's out there building the biggest business they can and everyone wants to be an entrepreneur and everyone's hard charging and everyone has comparisonitis? Are we healthier or less healthier today in general?
I would say that it's actually less healthy. And here's the reason why. There's a lot of misinformation out there. So I take care of exclusively entrepreneurs. So my entire practice, it's built around entrepreneurs. So I understand this community very well. I'm an entrepreneur myself. And the reality of the situation is that entrepreneurs, we always want to get to the solution, and we want to get there as fast as we possibly can. And so we take that information, we have a tendency to go a different road usually. And so the issue is the information that is currently being put out to people, it always isn't the best information, because a lot of times you have folks that they're following a different agenda, they're marketing things, they're being entrepreneurs themselves, and there's usually an affiliate deal on the other side of that. And so what happens is, because we want a result and we want it relatively quickly, then folks take shortcuts based off of misinformation.
So how quickly are you seeing bad advice being spread, and how on earth are we supposed to know if it's legit or not?
Yeah, it's a good question. How do you know, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes like I'll see something on Instagram or something, I'll be like, wait a minute, that
Like, should I do this?
Too good to be true.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing really is don't outsmart your common sense. If something seems too good to be true, it probably actually is. You know, it's almost like the you think of like the 1800s, like cowboy days, the traveling road show of the snake oil salesman that's like mixing up the elixir for whatever the problem you happen to have. That's all over social media right now.
You mentioned the word affiliate. There's a lot of people out there posing as doctors, or they are doctors, or they build a great big brand around, hey, look at me, I'm a medical expert.
Yeah.
And they're giving this advice. And what we don't know on the other end is that they have an affiliate deal or they own part of that company. What level of danger does that play in the advice that we seem to be spreading out there as being quote unquote popular advice? And can you think of any examples where you're like, that is some real shit advice, and I know the person's getting paid on the other side?
So legally, if a board certified physician has medical interest in a company, they have to disclose that. Now the issue becomes the rise of the healthcare influencer, which are folks that are not physicians. A lot of them call themselves biohackers and things like that. I personally call them bioquackers. And they don't have to disclose a damn thing. And so instead, they lead folks down these paths, right? Where then they're making millions on affiliate deals on the other side, and the consumer is none to the wiser. That is particularly dangerous because, even if they have good intentions, let's pretend that they have good intentions, then, on the other side of that, they don't know what they don't know. And that's where problems can really arise.
And you mentioned they might even have good intentions.
Yeah.
But what about people that are just trying to peddle stuff to make a buck?
Oh, sure, there's plenty.
Can you think of some of those products or some of those trends or some of that advice that you've seen going around? You're like, that is flat out not true.
Yeah.
And that's being driven by greed.
Absolutely. So a popular one right now, and there's actually, it's all over social media. It's not breaking news or anything, but there's this salt company that they were found to have a bunch of, they were saying those trace minerals in these salts, so it's healthier. Well, there's actually all these heavy metals in the salt that they were selling, right? So this was a few months ago. I had a bunch of patients that were asking me this question. They're like, I'm hearing about the salt. I heard if you drink salt water in the morning, it's just better for you and what have you. Should I be spending, $20 on this bag of salt? I was like, well, why would you do that? So, salt, so it's just sodium chloride. Salt is salt, And so here you had influencers that were promoting the salt. Here, take this if you have a headache. Headaches are really just caused by dehydration. Headaches are caused by tons of different things. So there's all this misinformation surrounding it. And now you're seeing on the other side of that, folks actually, having issues because of that misinformation.
So what are some really good things that we should be doing in your personal opinion?
So, when we start looking at what things can folks actually make happen right now, then there really is a methodology to it. So we live in a society, myself included, where we want quick wins. And the reality is when you get one quick win, you just want to move on to the next quick win. So instead of doing that, if we actually look at life a little bit differently and say, well, we want to live for as long as we can, for as well as we can, and do that for an extended period of time, then the question becomes, well, is there anyone doing that already? And there is. And this is, blue zones. Blue zones are places in the world where you have the highest number of centenarians that there are.
Love a blue zone.
Yeah. And so, they're spread throughout the country. One of them's here in California. You have Greece, Japan, Italy.
Costa Rica, I believe.
Yep. Costa Rica. And so all these areas, they all have some things that are in common. And if you look at the common things, is they all eat relatively clean. So it's lean meats and fish, fresh fruits, fresh vegetables, things like that. They exercise, and it's not just pumping weights in a gym. Most of these areas are hilly, so they're walking up and down hills and things like that. They have high quality relationships. All those areas, they're usually smaller knit communities.
Purpose.
So it's purpose driven. They actually get to know people and know them well, which is something that in this day and age, even though we all have cell phones and everything, it's like we're more disconnected more now than ever.
So huge, so important.
Yeah. And so when you start looking at these components of like, well, I live in Phoenix. I'm not going to just move off to Sardinia, right? So it's like
Tempting.
Yeah, tempting, right? But wouldn't that be cool if you could take these same components and actually create your own blue zone for yourself, no matter where you are, and drastically make an improvement in your health.
So we don't have to live in those places to potentially try to reach 100 or over.
Right.
Yeah, I know you and I have chatted about this before, but I'm so passionate about the ideas behind blue zones, because it's all the components that not only make people live to 100 or beyond, but also I believe it's the components that make you the most fulfilled in life. With, I know that you've watched some of the Netflix documentary on it, and it's just like the purpose that everyone has. And I think that those are all things that people aren't looking at that also make you live a really long time, is like the quality of your relationships. If you feel important in the world and important to your community, if you feel like you have that role.
But now I want to talk more advanced, because if people just did that, great, they're going to be 90% of the way there. But we also know that there's some really modern technology that you can use to enhance the already good habits. And I really want you to speak to this. Somebody once told me, hey, if you take all these peptides and you take all this stuff on top of an unhealthy body and unhealthy diet with no exercise, you're not really helping anything. So what are some more advanced things beyond eating right and exercising, having good community, that really have turned the tables in a good way for people?
I want you to consider something. Consider that we live in a day and age now, this is 100% true, where you can basically decide how you want to age. So you and I mentioned, we were talking about this before, where it's like, let's say you decide where, you know what, when I'm 90 years old, I want to run the Boston Marathon when I'm 90 years old. It's like, great. Okay. So if
I don't, probably my brother does.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Nick would, right? So like if you're in your 40s now, then it's like, okay, if that's a target for you, we can actually start planning that now so we can reverse engineer that. And that is completely within the grasp of the majority of people. Which, if you stop and you think about that for a second, maybe even like 5 years ago, 6 years ago, that was something that like you had to be like a big celebrity, a movie star, a senator, or something like that. So if folks shift their mindset instead of sick care to healthcare, and instead they start looking at things differently, where they're like, hey, listen, my health is an investment. My body and my mental health is an investment. That's what's going to carry me out throughout all my days. Then that's where you can actually start to pre-program the life that you really want.
Okay, I'm going to give you a few things, and I want you to say fad, or what's the negative thing we could call it? How about fad? Smash or pass. Ready?
Oh, okay.
All right, we're going to play smash or pass. NAD, smash or pass?
Smash, but it depends the way that you take it. So for the longest time, I was on the NMN train. So NMN and NAD, it's kind of like the difference between gasoline and exhaust. Okay. Only in this case, the exhaust actually does something. So the NMN would be the gas, the NAD would be the exhaust. NMN works great if you're going to do it orally, works really well for that. However, if you really want bang for your buck, subcutaneous NAD, this is not medical advice, subcutaneous NAD, oh man, like that, once you start doing it a couple times
a lot of people
week,
don't know what that is. Would you explain?
Yeah. So NAD is a component that's within our the mitochondria of our cells, that once we hit about 35 or so, those levels slowly start to drop over time. And it's essentially the powerhouse of each one of our cells. So it's crazy to think that you can actually take a substance that increases like intracellular power on a regular basis, that you could do this. So I do it 3 times a week, particularly if it's like, it's going to be a big day or something like that, where it's like, man, I got to really show up. And it's not like caffeine where you take it and all of a sudden you're just jolted. It's this kind of slow start to it that just has a hang time of about 7-8 hours, slowly drifts away. It also works well for longevity. So it's not just an energy kick or something. It's our body makes this anyway. It's just we slowly, as we age, this slowly starts to dwindle over time.
And you said sub-Q, so people don't know, that means you're injecting it into, you pull out your fat on your stomach, inject it in there.
Just under the surface of the skin. It's relatively painless.
So would somebody wake up and inject NAD every single day?
I usually say 3 times a week, like
Okay.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday, because it has a hang time to it.
Okay, so it can go for a couple days.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Smash or pass, next one. Testosterone and hormones for men and women.
Yeah, smash completely. Absolutely. Similarly, as we age, our hormone levels start to drop. A variety of hormones, but in testosterone in this case. it kind of makes sense that it would, particularly for men if you think about it. So testosterone does a ton of things for men and women. But I mean, for men, it's like, muscle mass, libido, mental clarity, all these things. It would make sense that we would be pre-programmed by God, if you will, that you would slowly have testosterone levels drop over time, because as that happens, you would want libido to drop so that there would be less sexual interest because you're getting older and may not be around to father the children that you made, right? So it's pre-programmed within us that testosterone levels would drop. What's amazing is that they're dropping way faster than they should. And we don't know exactly why. Is it all of the hydrocarbons in our food? Is it all of the hormones that have been pumped into our food supply over the years? Is it years of Hungry Man microwave dinners and whatever the hell was in that? Who knows? But hormone levels are dropping faster in men. Like, we're talking sometimes even in their 20s. And it lends to the obesity epidemic and all these other things and such. So yes, 100%. If a guy is feeling like they're mentally sluggish, they're gaining weight no matter what they do, there's like a lack of mental clarity that's there, so forth and so on, by all means, got to get their testosterone checked and go to a reputable place, because there's too many TRT clinics that are just writing a prescription for testosterone when guys don't need it, or they're giving them too much.
Explain that. What's the difference between going into one of these clinics with really good marketing and there's a doctor standing there and he says, hey man, I'm going to take your labs and I'm going to prescribe testosterone. I would think like, hey, that's a good thing. This guy's a doctor. Explain what you mean by the danger of just walking into some of these places.
Yeah. So there's a lot of these TRT clinics that it's an entrepreneur that owns it, and they'll hire, a PA, a nurse practitioner, a doctor, or whatever, to go and like staff it essentially. And how someone can tell. So here's a litmus test for any guy who's listening that they walked into one of these places. If they just try to max somebody out on testosterone, they instantly put them on a estrogen blocker and they say, okay, here you go, and we'll see you in a couple months. Or it's one of these places that's like, just come back once a week and we'll give you the injection. Any of those places, you need to stop and go, hey, wait a minute, we need to look at things a little closer. Because that's just it's a cookie cutter approach instead of precision TRT, which is really what a man needs.
So tell me about for women, because I think so many women, this is a new idea for people. Among a lot of the women I know and my friends and super high achievers, they are all about it. They're so excited about it because, with perimenopause, which is so crazy, you can start in your 30s. Like, that is insane to me. But so many women report like not having drive anymore, just like they think they're losing motivation or life motivation. And so much of it is hormones. So what does that look like for women with testosterone?
Yeah. So, particularly when there's like a drop in libido, it's kind of like, that's one of the key signs. So when there's a drop in libido, or maybe adding some body fat that they didn't want to despite, exercise and diet and trying to keep things tight and everything, those are all little things that start to show up. So both men and women have testosterone, both men and women have estrogen, just in different quantities. So for women, the amount of testosterone, nowhere near that of what a man has naturally. And if it's going to be augmented and optimized, also same, very, very small amounts, because it's incredibly potent. But once that optimization takes place, then that's when you start seeing libido come back, mental focus, usually more energetic, easier to add muscle mass, etc. So as a woman is starting to approach menopause, then that need may be more so to actually do that. And particularly with female entrepreneurs. So female entrepreneurs, it's tough. Like, female entrepreneurs have a really hard time. You consider that entrepreneurship overall is very much male dominated. So for a female entrepreneur to show up and be successful, it's not only do they have to, conquer all the things that go along with entrepreneurship and be willing to put out all the fires every day, but they're doing it in a field that's actually like more balanced against them. So think about how exhausting that is. Like, entrepreneurship is the most stressful thing that there is.
I mean,
Period.
I feel it.
It's the most stressful thing that there is. So for a woman to be successful in the entrepreneur game, it's the amount of stress that is on them particularly. It's even higher. And stress, if we had to pick one thing, if you had to say, hey, what's the main thing that can really actually like do it all, is stress. It ages us faster. It is the origin of so many diseases, anxiety, depression, sleepless nights, you name it, stress eating, the list goes on. So it's when you go down the entrepreneurial road, especially, and this is the reason why I love working with the entrepreneur community, is because it is a very unique community with a very unique set of stressors that it's just different than someone who has a guaranteed paycheck.
I have more smasher passes.
Me too, go for it.
Okay. Creatine.
Yeah.
And creatine specifically for women as well. So men and women.
Yeah. Good. That's a smash. All you guys are doing great. The smash also. That's a smash also. So creatine, pretty interesting as a substance. About 5 grams a day. I say that with a little asterisk on the end because that depends on the creatine that you're getting, the concentration, how it's made, and also kidney function. And so, it gets processed through the kidneys and such. And usually folks that are already taking creatine, these are active people. And so, because they're active, they're going to have higher fluid demands for water and things like that. So barring all of those things, that someone's doing that and that they are staying well hydrated and such, it's great. In terms of muscle strength, on average about 11% stronger.
Did you say taken before a workout, it can make you 11% stronger?
Before and during.
Okay, we went to dinner last night. I asked that question.
Yeah, before and during.
Wow.
Yeah, so think about that for a second. Let's say you're, lifting a 50-pound dumbbell, right? Now it's a 55-pound dumbbell.
Yeah, interesting. Wow.
That's a pretty big difference just by drinking this stuff. There's newer data that shows that it's encouraging for Alzheimer's and, decreasing risk of Alzheimer's and so forth. So yeah, that's a definite smash.
How about like body tone definition? Like, does it do anything in that regard?
I mean, there's some data that's out there that does show that, but the bigger question is why? Why does it? And I would think it's because lifting heavier, so therefore getting more hypertrophy of muscle.
Is there any pros? Because there was a lot, cons, because I think women are like, oh, I can get really bloated. Like, what's this going to do to me? What can they expect?
The bigger thing is you can have shift in fluid.
Yeah.
So bloating can occur. The biggest one is really kidney function. And so it's like someone needs to make sure they're drinking plenty of water and such, and they have to be careful what other supplements they're taking.
Okay.
Because there's some folks that, it's really easy. If you're not careful, you're taking 80 supplements in a day. Otherwise, all this is getting processed through the body. And so the question becomes, well, if there's something that's causing kidney damage or multiple things you don't really know, now you're adding gas on the fire with the creatine. Well, then, that could be something that's brewing.
Yeah, that's so interesting because so many people are so supplement heavy. But we, talking to you, it was so interesting to shed light on the fact that we could be taking all these supplements. Some could be canceling each other out. Some might not be working well together. So you think you're doing something so good for yourself, but you might not necessarily be. Like, how do people know what to be taking?
It's tough. It's tough because, again, you get marketed everything. Consider it this way. Consider if you take all the supplements, you put them in a bowl, and you're gonna eat it like it's a bowl of supplement Cheerios, right? And you're scooping all these things in. Well, where does it go? So it goes into the stomach, starts getting dissolved. Once it's all dissolved, now it's all big slurry. Like, we really don't think about this when it's in pill form, right? But now it's all this big slurry. If you have that with like a protein shake or something, well, now it's a really big slurry. As it's making its way through your gut, what actually gets absorbed? Probably actually a really small amount. So, in general, it's like, and we're busy. And I do this myself where it's like, if I'm going to take some supplements, I just handful all at the same time, check the box, I'm done, move on to the next thing. But the reality of the situation is probably not absorbing all of those things appropriately. So if you're going to take it, I would just say, whatever it is that folks are taking, be very intentional about it. Like, do your research, be very intentional about it, and probably don't do like I do and don't take it all at once.
Yeah, and get your labs done you do our labs every 90 days, right?
Yep.
So we always know what's going on in our body. If somebody doesn't have concierge care like you, how often should they get their labs done so they know, hey, these things are helping me, hurting me, etc.?
I'm a big proponent of every 90 days just because that way, not only does someone always know, but you can develop a trend. So each one of those sets of labs is a data point. So, and what we'll do is I literally, I map out all your data points so that not only am I looking at the number, I'm looking, is there a trend, where something's going up or down? Because if something's going off, I want to know immediately before there's damage that occurs. I would say for parameters for folks, if they're younger, like let's say 30 or in their 30s or so. Someone in their 30s can probably get away with checking labs like once a year. 40s twice a year, 50s. Okay, we need to start really paying attention.
Yeah. All right. One or two more controversial smasher passes. Ready?
Yeah.
First one. Ozempic, tirzepatide. What do they call them? GLP what?
GLP-1s.
GLP-1s. Smasher pass.
I get asked all the time what it was like to pivot from digital products, books, events into a physical product, a consumer package product. And I will say it was one of the biggest learning curves of my entire life, not to mention hiring a team who has a background in this and just everything that I have to learn about getting a physical product out into the world and how to acquire customers with it. But let me tell you one thing that was super easy, and that was my e-commerce platform in choosing it, because I had heard so many amazing things about Shopify. It just made my choice so much easier, because Shopify is the e-commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world. And 10% of all e-commerce in the US, from household names like Mattel and Gymshark to brands that are just getting started, including Glossy. So get started with your own design studio with hundreds of ready-to-use templates. Shopify helps you build a beautiful online store to match your brand's style, which if you go look at mine, you'll see it's totally on brand with Glossy. Accelerate your content creation. Shopify is packed with helpful AI tools that write product descriptions, page headlines, and even enhance your product photography. You can get the word out like you have a marketing team behind you. You can easily create email and social media campaigns wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling. And best yet, Shopify is your commerce expert with world-class expertise in everything from managing inventory to international shipping to processing, returns, and beyond. So if you're ready to sell, you're ready for Shopify. Turn your big business idea into with Shopify on your side. Sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/happy. Go to shopify.com/happy, shopify.com/happy. If you're running a business, you know that every time you miss a call or communication with a customer that you are leaving money on the table, except it's not sustainable to be available 24/7. That's why you need OpenPhone. OpenPhone is the #1 business phone system that streamlines and scales your customer communications. It works through an app on your phone or computer, so no more carrying 2 phones or using a landline. With OpenPhone, your team can share one number and collaborate on customer calls and texts like a shared inbox. That way, any teammate can pick up right where the last one left off, keeping response times faster than ever and making this feel incredible for your customer. Plus, say goodbye to voicemail. Their AI agent can be set up in minutes to handle calls after hours, answer questions, and capture leads so that you never miss a customer. So whether you're a one-person operation drowning in calls and texts or have a large team that needs better collaboration tools, OpenPhone is a no-brainer. See why over 60,000 businesses trust OpenPhone. OpenPhone is offering my listeners 20% off your first 6 months at openphone.com/earn. That's openphone.com/earn, openphone.com/earn. And if you have existing numbers with another service, OpenPhone will port them over at no extra charge. OpenPhone, no missed calls, no missed customers. If you follow my social media, you guys know that I have been talking about the importance of growing a list and owning your audience and converting all your people from social, because there is so much unpredictability in the world that we really need to be able to control what we can control. And that's why Constant Contact's award-winning marketing platform is here to make marketing way easier and way more effective for small businesses like yours and like mine. And the best part, you don't need to know anything about marketing. So your struggle with expensive, slow, and unmeasurable marketing is over, because with their all-in-one platform, you can create and manage attention-grabbing campaigns in just a few clicks. Email, text, social media, events, landing pages, you name it, it's all in one place. No more juggling dozens of different tools, because Constant Contact's AI content generator helps you turn a rough idea into a ready-to-go message faster than ever. And with hundreds of customizable templates, it's easy to make something that looks and reads like like your brand. So pricing is transparent and based on your contact list. So if you're only paying for what you need, there's no surprises. And with a 97% email deliverability rate, your messages land far from spam, which is huge so that you have control over that audience, you guys. That's why over 500,000 small businesses trust Constant Contact to stay connected, top of mind, and ahead of the competition. Constant Contact is helping the small businesses stand tall. You guys, Constant Contact is something that so many of the people that I work with in our masterminds use and are obsessed with. So I'm so glad that we found Constant Contact. So get a free 30-day trial when you go to constantcontact.com. Try Constant Contact free for 30 days at constantcontact.com. That's constantcontact.com.
Oh gosh, I don't know if you can do an in-between smash or pass.
Smashy passy.
Yeah. So GLP-1s definitely have their place. Okay. So for folks, first of all, folks that are diabetic, oh my God, what a godsend these medications are. I mean, you're talking about, you can actually like reverse diabetes, which is crazy that this even exists, in our lifetime. So for folks that are diabetic, and again, this is not medical advice, don't try to sue me or anything. I'm not saying every diabetic needs to be on it, but for those under the guise of their physician that's being prescribed this, it can make a massive, massive impact on their health. Okay. That's for diabetics, but that's not the majority of people using it. Majority of people actually use it for weight loss, right? And the reason why it works, in case your audience doesn't know, is it does two things. Number one, satiety. So it makes someone feel fuller sooner. And it does that by actually slowing down the gastric motility. So when somebody eats, food will sit in the stomach for longer. Okay. It's a key point we'll come back to in a sec. The second thing is that folks will actually use carbohydrates in a little bit different manner so that way they don't quite absorb as much as well. Now, this is where the pass side of it comes in. Because if some is good, then more must be great, right? Not exactly. And this is what folks have done, is they've started abusing it and taken the attitude of, well, if I'm taking this magic drug, then now I can eat anything I want. And this is where you start hearing all this horror stories about people taking it, and they're vomiting everywhere. They can't keep food down and so forth because they're trying to pack in a bunch of food into a stomach that's now moving slower and not absorbing as well. So if they cram in 4 pieces of pizza, they're going to get sick.
Yeah.
The other thing is that folks will take higher dose for a longer period of time. And with anything, there's always give and take. There's always a pro and con. There's always a cost.
Double-edged sword.
Always. And so with this medication, since there were so many people, we're talking millions and millions of people on this medication, there was enough data points to see what some of those things are. And one of those is a very specific optic stroke that can occur. Another thing you hear commonly referred to as Ozempic face, which is folks that they weren't eating enough protein. So they lost so much fat that they also ended up losing a lot of muscle as well. And so now they've created another problem where either it's not just loose skin, but not enough muscle on their frame. So did this medication have a place? Yes. Does it still have a place? Absolutely. But now it's been long enough where my hope is that folks will start using it a little bit more, carefully.
Mm-hmm. I heard that it can also, for people who have addiction, you'll have to tell me, it can kind of shut off certain things.
Absolutely.
All sorts of addictions. Can you speak to that? Absolutely.
Yeah. That's a very good point. So it basically unhinges that reward center. So example for you, if I have a really stressful day, I don't reach for, alcohol or anything like that. It's like, man, I want a cheeseburger. That's my drug of choice right there. Cheeseburger and a milkshake.
Sushi.
You just feel better. And it's like, if you have something that's high sugar, high carbohydrate, and you take a bite into it, you instantly, it's like you get that dopamine hit. And, then after you have it, then you're like, all right, I feel terrible. I just did that. But it's that dopamine hit that gives that instant feeling of relief that comes. And so I use this in my practice for folks that have addictions. So, I have a patient who has a gambling addiction. Well, it has nothing to do with weight loss, does it? But microdosed, you can actually use it off label for that to unhinge that dopamine hit from almost anything.
Wow. Last smash or pass.
Mm-hmm.
PRP and stem cells, do they really work? And shooting PRP and stem cells in your little wee-wee, your little elephant trunk, does that really work?
This is real.
This is real.
Wow.
People are doing this now. Keep that needle away from my needle.
So smash. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely. So PRP stem cells, like stem cells, it's a huge, we could do a whole podcast just on stem cells.
Yeah.
Okay. And PRP, for folks that don't know, so it's platelet rich plasma, and that comes from the person. So literally we draw out a vial of someone's blood, put it in a centrifuge. Because of the different weight of all of the different components of blood, it separates. And the platelets are basically the component of the blood that if you accidentally cut your finger or something like that, platelets rush to that area, seal off the cut, starts that healing process to occur. So PRP is used for a variety of things. It can be used cosmetically. It's used intrasurgically.
I used it during my shoulder surgery.
Yeah,
It was great.
Very smart.
3 weeks ahead of schedule.
Yeah, very smart of your surgeon to do that. So really glad that they did. And it can be used for penile rejuvenation as well. So, it has a ton of uses. And the beautiful part about it is it's not like it's not foreign. It can't be rejected. It's from your own body.
Explain rejuvenation. Like you're shining this thing up, or gets less skin, or like it acts better.
It acts better. So basically,
Listens to your commands better.
Yes. Yeah. So basically what happens, and by the way, there's a procedure for women as well, that it can actually be injected into vaginal tissues and so forth for increased sensitivity and everything. So women aren't left out. But one of the things that can be done is it basically, particularly for men, just increases blood flow. So that as you increase blood flow and everything, you'll have stronger erections for longer.
I am not sure, no matter what the payoff is, I'm not sure you're going to get me to stick a needle in
I'll
in that.
it for you.
You'll do it for me? How kind of you.
Happily.
Are you happily? Are you saying I need this?
No, just saying. I think it'd be funny.
Do you have any more smasher passes, or should we start talking about the scans?
I really do, because I think people are going to love this episode so much, because it's every question I feel like we all have. How much protein, Dr. Boyd? It's having a moment right now.
Yeah.
And I know even on my team, we have protein challenges, trying to hit protein goals, because I'm so aware of it from just my fitness background, that protein's important for so many different reasons. But, I have some people on my team who literally if they don't try, they're getting no protein throughout the day. They really have to try. So what does a good protein quotient look like for men and women?
First of all, let me just acknowledge it is so hard.
Mm-hmm.
It really is just hard to get enough protein in.
Mm-hmm.
I chase it every day.
Starbucks is coming out with a protein foam
Oh, really?
for the top of their coffee.
Maybe
That's
that'll help,
I know
right?
it will help America somehow, maybe.
Yeah, somehow it's on your Frappuccino. I don't know how that's, but
Yeah.
but it is. It's just hard to get enough protein in. So on average, an easy number to remember is 1 gram per pound of body weight.
Mm.
So
Oh shit.
yeah, so it's more than what you would think, actually, right? And that's if for someone who's just staying stable. If someone is actually trying to add muscle mass, it goes up even more. Then it's about 1.5 grams.
Dang.
Yeah. And so when you start doing the math on this, it's man, it's actually a fair amount of protein on a regular basis. Wouldn't it be nice to be able to do this, in an easier manner? So a little thing that folks can do is that, I found it way, way easier if you start front loading your protein. So just start your day trying to get more protein.
So true. Start with a bunch of a big thing of eggs or.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Eggs, it's weird. In nutrition science, it's eggs are good. Now they're bad. Now they're good again. So it's, bottom line, as long as eggs aren't, more pricey than gold, just eat some eggs in the morning, and at least start, getting things going for the day with your protein requirements. And then, throughout the day, you want to try to continue to take in protein on a regular basis.
I'm protein, in the morning, protein shakes, cottage cheese with berries.
Shout out Isogenics.
Yeah. Also, we do pretty good with lots of protein at night. We kind of have this idea around our dinner meal. I mean, I have it. I don't know if you do. I force it on you, but you can eat as much lean protein as you want at dinner. Just load up. I don't have an off button for it. I allow myself to load up on that versus, anything else, a potato or,
Sure.
starchy carbs. And I feel like that's been really helpful to me to just be like, have as much protein as you want. Because I feel like you can't necessarily, especially as a woman, you're not going to OD on protein at that particular meal. But it's always, I feel like that's served me really well.
All right, last subject for the day. You have the Blind Spot patented full body executive physical, and one would say it is more comprehensive than Mayo Clinic's famous executive physical. Can you confirm or deny that it is more comprehensive than Mayo's? And really, what goes on in one of these things?
I just got back from speaking at a friend's event in Canada. And while we were there, it was the perfect time to catch up with friends and also meet a bunch of new friends that we haven't gotten to spend any time with yet. So we got to have some amazing experiences. Like, you guys, listen to this. We got to drive supercars all through the country, and Chris got to drive his ultimate dream car. And if you don't know, I'm a huge wake surfer. So we got to do that, which is one of my favorite activities. And also my other favorite activity, which is catching up over dinners at our friends' homes. And the conversations were so incredible when you meet like-minded people. I think that was my favorite part. But when Chris and I are traveling like this for work and making memories, we love the idea of someone else getting to enjoy our properties, to catch up with friends and make their own special memories like the ones that we had while we make a little extra cash. And now Airbnb has a co-host network that can help with hosting details for you. With the co-host network, you can hire quality local co-hosts to support you with everything from creating your listing to managing reservations, messaging guests, and more. Find a co-host at airbnb.com/host.
So I first of all, I'll tell you, Mayo Clinic's executive program is wonderful. It's a great program. And I'm familiar with many of the things that they do. I don't know all of the nuances, but I have had quite a few patients that have come over to Blind Spot. Did you ask, like, what do we do during?
Yeah, like what should people expect? Why is it so comprehensive? What are you looking for?
Yeah, so I have it trademarked as the ultimate human analysis because it truly is. And what we do is we start really. It begins with a conversation, and that's actually the most important part. Because in sitting and speaking with somebody, someone will tell you what's wrong with them, what could potentially be wrong with them, blind spots that they have in their health based on their family history or their activities or all of those things. And that in itself is something that gets missed quite a bit because if the medical system on average, 7 minutes is the typical time that a doctor spends with a patient. 7 minutes. You can't find out anything in 7 minutes, right? So it's very, very high level. So when you actually sit down and speak with somebody, that's when each person that comes through our Blind Spot executive physical, we actually will go and create it custom for them because of that. And that's really the biggest difference. So yes, there's a myriad of CT and MRI and all those things, blood tests that we do. It's all very, very VIP. But that's what really separates it, is that it is a completely custom regimen for each individual.
I mean, it's really cool. Lori and I do this, once a year, once every couple of years, and you model out like our insides. You walk us through our heart layer by layer. You walk us through our organs. You walk us through our veins. And you're like, look, there's no plaque here. Great job. Or look, your heart works so hard that it's adding these little ventricle, or not, what do you call them? Little capillaries to it.
Yeah.
And it's cool to be able to walk through the inside of your body step by step and see there's nothing there or there's something lurking there. You found some crazy, scary things in otherwise healthy entrepreneurs. Share a couple of those stories.
Probably the most dramatic was, about the size of a small orange brain tumor that I found in an entrepreneur's wife one time.
Wow.
I had no idea it was there. Yeah. So those really one of the most dramatic.
No symptoms at all?
None. No headache, nothing. And I mean, otherwise early 30s, had little kids. I mean, you would have never known otherwise unless you look. I had a guy come in that was young, 38. 30. He had been an entrepreneur for a while, though. He had started when he was 18, so he was already 20 years in. Handsome young dude, 6-pack abs. I was like, he's going to be great. He had all these coronary calcifications in his heart, where it looked like this is probably the a 38-year-old guy with the heart of maybe someone closer to 60, and this was, he kept a relatively clean diet. He wasn't a smoker. He wasn't a heavy drinker or anything. Literally, he was predisposed to this for all the stress and everything he had been under for as long as he had. So these are things that if you don't look, you truly don't know. Otherwise, you're just making a bunch of assumptions.
I want to be clear. Neither one of these people had any idea or any symptoms.
None.
And they wouldn't have found it if they didn't do the blind spot medical executive physical.
Correct.
That is some scary shit. That's the guy you just described. That's the kind of thing, like, unfortunately, like my father, we all thought he was healthy. He worked out all the time, all that, and had a 90% blockage that nobody knew about, calcification, and fell over dead.
Yep.
You are literally saving lives by having created this. What should people expect? How long does it take? Where can they get it? Listen, let's be honest. It's not affordable for all, but can you put a price on saving your life and these things that you don't know are lurking? How do they get one?
Yeah. So you have to apply,
Mm-hmm.
so like you said, I don't work with everybody. So it's folks that are a fit. So you go to my website, you can go to blindspotmedical.com.
Blindspotmedical.com. Okay.
And fill out the application there. And that's really where things start, is to see if someone's a fit.
Blindspotmedical.com.
For people who are, I'm curious because we're seeing with all like the influencers and stuff posting, like, I think it's like Prenuvo. I know it's not even remotely close to this, but is that a good option for people too?
It is. And so Prenuvo has done a really good job with actually making it, making a screening mainstream and affordable.
Yeah. Like
and
bringing this conversation in, which is huge.
Yes. So, and with them, what I'd say is that, they do a whole body MRI, which is good. Like, I do a whole body MRI on all my patients, including you guys, on an annual basis, right? But I do that because I've done a lot of other testing and everything first.
Right.
So does a whole body MRI have a place? 100%. Absolutely. Does just because a whole body MRI comes back negative, does that mean, okay, we're good? Not necessarily.
Right.
So it can rule out problems, but it doesn't necessarily, it shouldn't give a complete sense of protection.
Right. Right. Yeah. You were sure. I learned a lot of that from you, understanding like, oh, there's so many different things you have to check to really go deeply into your health. And I know when I did it, I'm so grateful because it's like peace of mind. It's so much peace of mind. Before we did this, I think you just are wondering, is there something that could be lurking that if I knew about it right now, I could catch it, obviously, and extend your life. And it's crazy because you're in your 30s, you really don't think about it. And all of a sudden 40, like it shows up so fast.
Really quick. Yeah.
And it is like when you should really be looking into your health. And I know that you've said even in the past, like there's a lot of stuff that can show up in 30s now. And so I think even just, something like if they can't, meet with you, which hopefully they can, but if they can't, like something like a Prenuvo or something just to see if there's anything big there. But when we did it, we found I can't remember what you call it, but something on my thyroid and then something in my, help me, what female parts do women have? Uterus.
Yeah. I think, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I forget. Something in my uterus and they're all fine, but we're watching them. But like, I feel so much more at peace knowing I'm going in and like checking on them consistently, and just to have the conversational aspect with you too of like, hey, are we good? Is this going to be okay if we keep checking on it? It's like literally life-changing knowing the status of your health.
I actually want to extend something once, like in a form of a thank you to you. When you did Lori's full body scan and you found the little nodule or growth or whatever it was on your uterus and the thing on your thyroid, most people have to wait 30 or 45 days to go in and then get the ultrasound. They're like, oh, we got to go look quicker. You had her in that afternoon. Like we found it at like 2:00.
You're panicked when this happens.
Yes.
You're not exactly like, oh, I can wait 45 days. I was like, tell me what this thing is.
And this is what concierge
right
care is.
Yeah.
You got it. We found out like 2:00. You're in there at 3:30 getting it done. And we're finding out, okay, no big deal. It's nothing bad. And we just have to monitor it. When I tore my bicep and labrum, texted you that night. You said, no problem. I'll have you in the best orthopedic surgeon in Newport because I happened to be in Newport when it happened. And sure enough, I went in. Now, did I know this was the best guy or not? I don't know. I assumed it was because you said it was. And I went in and got the appointment and got the surgery. And I ran into another orthopedic surgeon in Newport Beach here. He said, oh, who did your surgery? And I told him, he goes, how'd you get in with him? I said, well, I don't know. My concierge doctor just got me. He's like, he's the best in all of Orange County. And you know how serious medical care is in Orange County.
Yep.
So it's those little differences like that where we feel best investing our money. That's where we are like, oh, good, I can sleep at night, especially after my dad died of a heart attack. And I became a hypochondriac. So it's like, wait, if something was lurking in him, something must be lurking in me. So every little sore arm, every little, chest ache from a chest day of working out, I thought, this is it. I'm dying. This is a big one. And not until I went and got the scans and got all the testing and the 90-day labs and all that, did I feel like, okay, I'm not just maybe in the clear, but we can look inside my body and see that I'm in the clear.
Yes.
It's priceless.
So grateful.
Oh, honored. I'm honored to take care of you guys. It truly is. It's been, you guys are absolutely wonderful people, and it's just being in your circle. It makes my life better.
Well, it's so much fun going down the rabbit hole with you of health. And I love your approach because you look at it from every angle. I feel like that's so important when you're considering just who you're going to get advice from, because I've never had a conversation with you where there's a question for the most part where you're like, no, or yes, like this is, like so clear on exactly what this is, because you look at, who the person is, what's the situation, how is there, what are all of the pros and cons to things? And I think it's so refreshing, because what works for one person is not going to work for another, and vice versa. So I just feel like it's a really good way to look at healthcare in general. And I think it creates less fear around things too.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right, everybody. So that puts a bow on this one.
Yep.
But I also want you to go check out the blindspotmedical.com if you're serious about getting one of these full body scans. We've got no incentivization to say that. It's just saved our lives. It has made a difference mentally and physically for us. And so if you're going to put your money anywhere, put it into something that gives you that clean bill of health, or where you catch something early, because when you catch something early, damn near anything can be fixed. So Doctor, thank you for being on. Thank you for your time. And thank you for just caring about us so much.
Honored to be here, guys. Thank you so much.
All right. We will see you on the next podcast. You guys, make sure you go follow. Let's say that again. Follow. Make sure you go follow Dr. Boyd. Dr. Boyd, what's your handle?
At David Boyd, MD.
At David Boyd, MD. We'll put everything in the show notes as well, so that you can just pop down there and click on everything and you can go and check it out. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.